This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Always will be. Well, we dim the lights, draw the curtain, and fade to black. And I guess that's that, as my old pal Boob would say, ad hoc, ad loc, ad quid pro quo, so little time, so much to know.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, and the Vikings fall to 2-2. I'm a bit. I wouldn't say I'm dejected. I think I'm more disappointed than anything. And in lieu of the wheel of topic, 87 at Willingers, I'm struggling Tenneby again. I either hit a brilliant shot or a brutal shot, which I guess I should just count half my shots. Then I'd be really good. I'm going to go and play with Parker Fox here pretty soon. I play with another former Minnesota Golden Gopher basketball player, and we're an odd couple. We're on the golf course. He's 6'6", I'm 5'8", maybe even closer to 5'7". Parker Fox, is he also 6'6", or is he even taller? Is he 6'9"?
He might be taller than that.
6'9", and I'm 5'7". That'll be it. I told him right away, I said, I'm not playing the tips. I'm not going back to 6,800 yards with you. I'm going to play.
He's 6'8".
Yeah, I'm not going to. 6'8", he can play 6,800. I'm 5'7", I'll play 5,700. I can play a little more than that, but nevertheless. I thought it'd be better. Here's the danger, Tenneby. We talked about this. The Vikings identified after the season was completed, after the last two games of the year, the regular season finale against Detroit. That was more on Darnold than the offensive line, though the offensive line was probably leaky here or there all year, but it wasn't really awful, I don't think, because Darnold had a spectacular year, and the Vikings won 14 gall-darn games. But against the Rams, it really showed. They sent four guys every single time and sacked Darnold, I think, 9 times, and the Vikings bowed out. They went quietly into the night. And shortly after that game, I think it might have been that in the post-game news conference, even maybe it wasn't that quickly, but the coach came right out and said, we've got to beef up the interior of the offensive line and the defensive line. And they did on the offensive line, and they went out and we talked about this. The danger of veteran free agency guys coming off injury is because they're veteran free agency guys that are expensive coming off injury. And the Ryan,
there's a reason they were made available.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And the Ryan guy now has his second concussion this year, 5 documented concussions. And, Tenneby, far be it for me to tell a guy what to do. If he asked for my advice, I'd say I'd hang him up. We know the danger and the damage that can be done. It can be serious. We know all about what is it? Encephalopathy? CTE. We know what it is, and we know how it can be devastating. The brain injuries can be devastating. I don't know. Some guys love the game so much, and they think it ain't going to happen to me. I don't know if I just don't know. I haven't been following CTE coverage as much as I once did, but I don't know. I'm sure there are people that get numerous concussions and live happily ever after and have no real ill effects. But other people, it's devastating. So, but anyway, so you get that. Do we get any word on O'Neal yet? Have we heard anything about his knee?
No, I'm not encouraged though.
Because I think right after the coach said the training staff was talking to MCL, not MC Hammer, but MCL, and so that would mean, I guess, maybe reconstructive knee surgery. And, we had the bookend tackles. We had Darisaw, and we had O'Neal, and then we put some new guys in the middle. We thought, then Jonah Jackson. Now, he'll be back, the Jackson guy, right? His was like a finger thing or wrist, and he's going to get that fixed up, and he'll be back. But the line just wasn't, it hasn't been what it's cracked up to be. It wasn't all the line yesterday. As a matter of fact, if you saw, I tweeted this too. I didn't understand. I think, and maybe I'm not seeing it clearly, and you can tell me, you were watching the game and you were the master control supervisor. It seemed like early in the game we still wanted to do those long, deep passes and we didn't have time for that. And then in the second half, especially when we went for those when we put together a couple of scoring drives, made it a game, we started going with quick passes, quick release, drop back, one step throw. That's what Rodgers was doing.
Yeah.
That pass, I know that it was a great run by DK, but the throw by Rodgers was simply brilliant. He I think with his eyes, he got pace to bite on something that wasn't there, and Rodgers threw a perfect pass into a little bit of coverage. There were some people there, and then Metcalf took his talents and turned it into a long gain. And it's like, okay, if you've got a leaky offensive line, I know you like the vertical passing game because we got Addy and we got Jet and we got Speedy, so we want to go long. Well, I don't know what to tell you. That ain't going to work right now. Our running game was pretty much non-existent. And defensively, how do we allow it? Did I read this right or did I have this wrong? Going into that game, I think Pittsburgh had the second worst running game in the National Football League. And was it Gainwell or Grainwell?
Kenneth Gainwell.
Where did he come from?
He's basically been, a third stringer his entire career.
Vikings couldn't stop him. Your mama couldn't stop him. Your daddy couldn't stop him. The police can't stop him. And we even had a chance to win late again. It was amazing. And I thought they were going to pull the fat out of the fire. And then that last drive was just it was completely botched. We got was it a false start on somebody, and then we had a delay of game penalty, and it was just it didn't work out at all, and we walk away with a loss, and it's like that's and a couple two of those the two losses. We had chances to win late in both those, and weren't able to do it. And now we fall to 2-2. The Kitties are up on top. They didn't play particularly well, yet they still won by 27 points. It's amazing, or whatever they won by. Was it 34-10?
17? Was it 27-10?
Yeah. No, I think it was like 30.
Did they get up 34?
I think they got to 34. It was like 34-10. And they didn't even play particularly well. Green Bay and Dallas. I know Collinsworth was going on and got, boy, what a privilege to be here, something like that. What a great game. And it was exciting, but there not a lot of defense played, and the Bears stole one late. So let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll regroup. We'll talk about a little of this, a little of that. There's no KOC today, which I'm a little disappointed with. The fans need to hear from you. He's our fearless leader. What's going wrong with the club? He won't join us today.
They're traveling, I think, today.
Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah. Well, you can get on. They're
going to London.
Yeah, you can figure it out. It can't be that far. How far is it a flight from Dublin to London?
You might even just take the ferry.
Yeah, you go up in the air and you come right back straight down. But anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back. It looks like you're about to read something.
I am, yeah. The Fan and two men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is check. Enter now at KFAN.com.
KFAN.
Aquarius Home Services has your shot at 4 tickets to see Green Bay take on the Purple in early January, plus $500 in game day cash. Register for your chance to win today on the Cool 108 contest page. That's cool108.com. Well, that's the wrong vibe. We're at the wrong radio station. Hold on. Let's try that again. How about this one? Country's Outlaw is coming to Minneapolis. Don't miss Eric Church live at Grand Casino Arena on February 7th. The Chief brings the fire, and you don't want to miss it. Tickets go on sale Friday, October 3rd at 10 a.m. Get the full details now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. Let's go ahead and talk about people.com. No, wait, wrong station. That would be KDWB if I was there.
I always love that.
Well, there's that. I know what we'll do. We'll do Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. I think tomorrow's the last day of September. It's the last day you can buy an EV and take advantage of that $7,500 rebate. Do it if that's what you really want to do. And as soon as you get it done, because that $7,500 comes in handy, then you contact Affordable Electric, and they'll put one of those 240-volt sockets in your garage. They're also looking for an apprentice electrician journeyman. So they're looking for help. Reach out to them. They have a simple plan, competitive pay, got a truck for you too. So why don't you go ahead, and if either of those things interest you, or just any everyday electrical issues that you're having, affordable-electric.com, affordable-electric.com. And remember, wait for it, affordable, I'm going to brace myself. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. I really don't know what to add to Peek at the Purple Tennessee. It was not was an interesting game. I don't think they're gonna bottle that and put it in a time capsule and bury it so people can see what the National Football League is really like. But
it turned interesting. It wasn't interesting for most of it.
Yes, it did turn interesting late when all sorts of things. I mean, the Vikings, were they down? Was it 24-3? And all of a sudden they made it. What was the final score? Did we lose by 3?
We lost 24-21.
24-21. We made it interesting. We got a 2-point conversion. Addy caught a big pass. Speedy, did he get the 2-point conversion? Did he also get a tutty?
He had a tutty as well.
He had a tutty as well. So there were people that contributed. Wentz was under siege most of the game. There were times early in the game where he was his own worst enemy, though, too. He made some poor decisions, but that's what you get with a backup quarterback, right? The problem I see with the club, Tennessee, now it's very early. You're 2-2. You're only a game out of first place. Now you play a pretty good Cleveland team defensively. Cleveland does. I don't know how Detroit scored as many points as they did. I got to be honest with you. Now they did have a punt return for a.
Yes, we were down 24-6.
24-6.
And early in the fourth.
Early in the fourth. And we rallied back. We got the tutty, a 2-point conversion, got another tutty, got the ball back. When Pittsburgh, Rodgers almost blew it for him. Tomlin was going to kick the field goal. And Rodgers went, did you see how Rodgers did it too? Almost like, no, we're going for it. And then the offensive linemen were doing this, because offensive linemen want to go for it. It's a pride thing. We can get another yard or whatever it was, a yard or two. We can do that, right? And so they stayed on the field, and they didn't get it. And so that breathed light. I mean, it would have, instead of 10, it would have been a 13-point game. And I guess Pittsburgh was figuring at that point, well, what's the difference, right? And so, but we got the tutty. We drove down the field. We scored. I
would have gone for it there.
Yeah, I think I would have too. Yeah.
The touchdown ball game.
Yes, exactly.
Where even if you get the field goal, it's still a 2-possession game.
Correct. But he did talk him out because it looked like Tomlin was going to send the kicking team onto the field. And I think A-Raj talked him out of it. And then the Vikings, and they even got the ball back. And then we saw what happened on the last possession. But, the 2 games you did lose, you had right there. I mean, there was a chance to win it. Your rally just came up short in both cases. So we're roughly a quarter of the way through the season, right? Only a game out of first place. But there is a dark cloud hanging over the club because of the offensive line. I mean, if O'Neal, and that's an if, we don't know yet. If O'Neal's out, well, and the center might decide to retire. Sure. I don't know. So now what do we do? Even if he doesn't, you can't count on him. Yeah, that's
it's kind of like Aaron Jones last year, where Aaron Jones didn't miss a lot of games, but in the middle of games, he was constantly, he was out, and you can't count on him.
So we're relying on Schooley and Brandel or Brandel Chambly and Juergens.
And he was out for a little bit yesterday too.
And guys that, can't really blame them. They are who they are, right? And the reason they're on the team is because it was sort of like I'd said about Wentz. The reason Wentz was available because nobody wanted him. There wasn't a team in the league. He was available to everybody. I'm sure if the phone rang, he would have answered. He wanted to keep playing. Nobody wanted him until we decided to call because we thought Howell was so bad, we decided to go with Wentz. So it's not like there are replacement linemen just waiting around. You can't find them at Home Depot. They're not there. So it's the old next man up, which the coach did say, and that's what he's got to say. He can't do the old. He's not going to go, well, folks, I guess you can see we're in big trouble. He's got to say, next man up. But that is where coaching comes into play now, is where if your line is going to be leaky and you're not going to have as good a protection open holes, you got to become really creative offensively. They still have Addy and they still have Jet. So you still have two. I mean, how good was Jet in the first half?
Yeah.
How many catches? Was it 7?
8, 9.
8 or 9 catches, well over 100 yards. That one drive, I think it was our first scoring drive. Did he not? I think he had 4 catches on the Figgy drive. Because we didn't get.
He had had one called back on an ineligible man downfield that would have gone.
And so now defensively, what do you make of defensively? I mean, we weren't awful, but
the inability to stop the run is starting to become concerning. It was one thing to do it against Bijan Robinson, who you could argue is the best running back in football, but even against them, I mean, he was just absolute gashing them. Pittsburgh's not a good running team.
No.
Even when their starter is in, Jalen Warren, he is mediocre at best. So that's a concern, especially when you look at some of the teams you are going to be facing moving forward. Like Cleveland can't throw the ball very well, but they'll try to run it with Quinshawn Judkins. I'm sure you saw a little bit of him against Detroit.
Yes.
Philadelphia runs the ball as well as anybody. You get Detroit on the schedule coming up. They run the ball as well as anyone. So.
Even though the Ravens are surprisingly,
well, who knows what Lamar's status is by that time? But
it's it was like,
apparently we missed Blake Cashman.
Yeah, well, it was like, going back to the injuries on the offensive line, it was like Detroit last year with the injuries on the defense. They kept dropping like flies, yet they still found ways to win games, and it was mostly because their offense was still prolific last year. They were winning games because they were scoring. They led the league in average points scored a game. Was it like 33 or 34, something like that? I mean, so their defense did need to be great. They were finding guys they could plug in. They had some starters that made the entire season. And the Vikings just got to do that on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that's a little harder to do because it's
with a backup quarterback and no offensive line, I don't know if they're capable of that.
No, that's it. It doesn't.
So the defense is going to have to carry the load.
I think you're absolutely right, which means they got to figure out a way to stop the run.
They might need Van Ginkel back. He might be more important than we think because Dallas Turner cannot stop the run.
No, that's as disappointing.
And Van Ginkel usually seems like it's like one or twice a game he makes a significant play.
And then, yes, indeed. And then, that was. I know apparently he was goaded into it a little bit because maybe the guy had grabbed his face mask, but that Dallas Turner penalty was just terrible. That you can't do that. And so there's real issues in Vikingville. We'll break, we'll come back. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric for all of your electrical needs. If you're an electrician looking for work, looking for a new start, you can always check them out at affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. They're shockingly affordable.
Want to chime in what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw Bryan text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Couple 1314 past Common Man program. There are a number of ways to get a hold of us. Our phone number is 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326. Better chance we'll answer if it was 2 tin cans and a string. There's the email address that I don't check very often, booth@kfan.com. Talk back if you have the iHeartRadio app. You download, you search stations, find the fan, plug us in as a preset, and then once you dial us up on that, you just see a microphone icon corner of the screen, tap it, and you have 30 seconds or less to deliver us an audio message, whatever is on your mind. And then there's the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 64686. Brian writes, I'm still waiting for Lynx Talk, which I responded, you're going to be waiting a long time. Sorry. And then I said, it's not a restaurant with an a la carte menu. It just doesn't work that way. I can't just, because what if somebody wanted to hear about the cornhole semifinals that happened this week, and then we'll have to jump to the cornhole semifinals.
I'm still waiting to hear about the Wild's preseason game from last night.
Yeah, and then people want to hear about the Loons. And people want to hear about this. I just, you can't do it that way. You have to put precise, thorough preparation. So you just wing it. You just start going, and Vikings are kind of top. We'll get to, matter of fact,
we'll get to my 5 questions.
I was just going to say, it's going to be 5-3-4s coming up. And I'm sure Tenneby will ask about it. Probably throw in the Gophers, who had a very nice victory over Rutgers this past weekend. So Twins ended the regular season. Again, is Morocco in trouble? What are they going to do? The playoffs start. There's plenty.
Moving it up at Ryder Cup.
Yes, there's plenty of time to get to it all. But if you want the links, they were awful in Cheryl Reeve needs anger management courses. That's what she needs to do. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Did both of the interceptions lead to points for Pittsburgh? I think they did, didn't they?
I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure. We also got and they were the right calls, but they were still breaks. There was the fumble that was returned by Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
That wasn't a fumble. The call was right. He had his hand. Who had his hand on the ball? Was it?
And that was Mason. That was Mason's fumble, and then
and he had his hand on the ball. So
well, his foot was out of bounds.
Yeah, so that was the right call, but that looked like it was going to be a tutty. And then we had another interception that was ruled an incompletion instead. So it could have ended up being allowed. Those were razor sharp plays that if he hadn't put his hand on it, it would have been a tutty. We're getting a number of texts that are like this, for instance. If Kwesi's elderly roster continues at this rate, the Vikings are going to need to find a new GM who knows how to evaluate and draft young talent. Looking like a failed experiment already. Sad, really. And, I will say that to this point, the draft classes of Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah have not been real stellar.
No.
To say the least, right? Jury's still out on a couple of players, but every game that goes by, Dallas Turner looks more and more like that not going to work. We don't know about McCarthy.
You gave up almost an entire draft for him.
The McCarthy kid, I don't know. Again, the old cliche, the jury's still out to make some legalese into our conversation here, but I
said the biggest hits so far were probably, if you want to call Jordan Addison a hit, and I don't even know if the jury's still out on him to a certain extent, just because of the off-field issues. His first game back yesterday, he had some moments that did not go well, some drops, and he should have scored on the one long one and got caught by a linebacker.
Correct.
I get it wasn't the best throw in the world and slowed him up a little bit to begin with. And then other than that, I guess Reichard. Yeah. Reichard, the kicker, was a good draft pick.
But what I will tell you, and I don't know, maybe we should have Lieber on or Bursic on or somebody that maybe has a deeper understanding of the inner workings of the war room. I don't think Kwesi's just picking guys and then, surprising O'Connell by saying, "Hey, guess who I got for you?" Well, who did you pick? My guess is the head coach, who is also the offensive coordinator. Let's face it, he's the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And B-Flow have a lot of input into who the Vikings select. They passed on the Verse character. He was selected 2 picks after the Vikings took Dallas Turner. And Verse was the defensive rookie of the year that year. I don't know how he's played since then, but that happens to teams all the time. It happened in basketball here. We took Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn, and still on the board was Steph Curry, right? So it happens all the time. But I know at the end of the day, the general manager, I guess, makes the pick. But do you think is my assumption wrong? Do you think that those picks are as much an indictment on KOC and maybe B-Flow as anybody else? It's not just the GM, is it?
I mean, ultimately, it falls on the GM.
Right.
I mean, even if the GM is allowing those 2 guys to make picks over him, that's still on the GM to a certain extent. So ultimately, the buck stops there. But, Kwesi gets, on the other side of that, Kwesi gets a lot of credit for his free agent finds.
Yep.
Right? Like an Isaiah Rodgers this year looks like a pretty decent find. I don't know how much of that is Kwesi and how much of that is B-Flow going, I like this guy. We need him on the team.
They like to use the word collaboration a lot in sports now. And I think the Vikings are big on that word collaboration. I think it is a collaboration. I think they talk it over. So I'm not ready to just say it's all Kwesi's fault. And it very well could be. Again, we have Lieber on about 2 or 3 times a year. Maybe we'll have to ask him the next time we have him on. We can have Alec Lewis has agreed to come on again. I don't know. Will PA be mad if we have Alec Lewis? Is that?
I don't think so. If we start making him a regular, but
just every once in a while. So in other words,
we'll have him on to play pass for it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just not ready to really throw it all on to Kwesi. And here's another one. Common man. They made the mistake of thinking Howell was the answer, and once again they were wrong. We could have had Wentz in March. Another screw up, Mr. GM. Fire him, Ziggy. Again, do you think it was?
I don't know if we could have had him in March.
Yeah. Wentz, you mean?
Yeah, because I think it's possible Wentz still thought, hey, I can still be a starting quarterback in this league, right? Like he had more options.
Right.
Howell's under contract, and you just got him at draft time.
Right.
Wentz, I'm sure, probably thought, I'm just going to keep holding this out, waiting for an opportunity to come.
Or maybe we could have had it. But either way, what my point is, the Vikings are looking for a veteran backup quarterback. Did all of a sudden Kwesi pick up the phone and call Kevin at his house and say, hey, Kev, I got your quarterback. Who is it? Well, I went with the Howell character. Okay, thanks. That there was no input from the quarterback whisperer. I don't believe that. I don't think that happens in the National Football League. I just don't. Every time I had a producer leave here, and they don't leave often because once they sink their teeth into this job, nobody wants to leave. It's a dream job, just ask Tennessee. But I have some say in it. It's not like they just said, here you go, Davy Joe Simser, here you go, Ethan the Eel McIntosh, here you go, Tennessee. I had some say in it. And so I don't think they just are going to say, Sam Howell's your guy, and by the way, here's Dallas Turner.
Well, even all the Rodgers rumors this summer, the rumors weren't Rodgers was talking to Kwesi.
Right.
The rumors were Rodgers was talking to KOC.
Exactly. And you see, by the way, Rodgers got sacked on the very first play. After that, you know what I thought? I mean, I know I'm quick to overreact. There's no question about that. As I'm watching a game, after the first play, I'm going, well, this is going to be a beatdown for the Vikings. They're going to be all over Rodgers. He's a statue back there. But what did he do? He's still he can move.
He's savvy.
He's savvy, man.
Yeah.
And
he can still throw it.
And he can still, and that's part of the reason you and I thought, I mean, look, we've said it hundreds of times. The number one reason for a radio talk show host and his sidekick to want Aaron Rodgers is because it's just so juicy. He's on McAfee every week. I don't know if he's still doing that. He's on McAfee. He rolls. He's controversial. And we love controversy here. But also, if you are in it to win it, if you think we've got all the pieces, now they might not have all the pieces in place because those pieces got all broke up. They got broken all sorts of places. Speaking of all the pieces in place, we talked about it in the first 2 segments about the injuries on the offensive line. But Rodgers is savvy, man. He knows he was laughing and smiling the entire game. Did you notice that? I think he's at a place too where he's kind of knows he's closer to the end than he is the beginning. He's probably at the beginning of the middle of the end of his career, right?
Sure.
So he's just enjoying it. And I think what he saw out there, he felt comfortable with what they were doing. And they were able to move the football. The other thing that you said it, I think best when you said you're getting a bit to just use the word concerned about the run defense.
Sure.
Do you remember we traded one of our defensive tackles because we thought we were so deep at defensive tackle. We got defensive tackles that can rush at the. Remember, we wanted an inside pass rush is what we wanted.
Well, I mean, they did get that out of Jalen Redmond yesterday, which is the main reason Harrison Phillips is gone.
Right. But did in lieu of wait, now how do I say it? because we've beefed up our interior pass rush, is that at the expense of our run-stopping defense, too, or not? Or, I mean, again, like you say, Bijan Robinson's good, but they bludgeoned us on the ground.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh had a really good game. How about our other games? It was
Cincinnati didn't get much.
Yeah,
a lot of that, though, is they were behind so much so early that they didn't even get a chance to establish the run.
In the Bears?
Chicago didn't do a whole lot against the run. But they're also not a good running team.
But as you mentioned, coming up now, Cleveland will try to run. They're not very Flacco.
They're going to try to run.
Yeah, Flacco's a dinosaur.
Yeah,
I mean but after the bye, then it's Philadelphia. Now,
Philadelphia's going to run.
But is Saquon? He's not putting up the numbers he did last year. It's hard to match those.
I think he's getting a little more attention.
Yeah, he's getting more attention, but they're going to want to run the ball. They have a very strong offensive line. And then what order is it after that? Chargers. Do they run the ball?
They've always been known as a running team, especially with Harbaugh. Harbaugh is known, but they're pretty balanced now.
Yeah.
And Amarian Hampton did have he's the rookie running back. He had a little better game yesterday.
And then we know about Knuckles and Sonic.
Detroit and then Baltimore. Yeah.
That's a great run. Did you see did we talk about this last week where the Lions offensive coordinator was kind of cocking off? They asked him in a Q&A, they said, Cleveland's got the best defense against the run. He goes, well, they've not seen a running game like ours. That's what he said.
He's right.
Yeah. And then Myles Garrett cocked off and said, well, you've not seen a run defense like ours either. Garrett was really good yesterday. He played pretty well, but it wasn't enough. But you're right. They hadn't seen a run game like that. The Vikings are going to see that.
I'm not looking forward to our offensive line versus Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's a little scary to me.
Yeah. Because their defense is, I know Detroit scored a lot of points, but man, they had to work for them. One of them was a punt return for a kickoff, for a touchdown, for a tutty. But it's amazing to me. The Lions can win, and you can be actually disappointed. Yeah, when I say disappointed, just that they just didn't even play that great of a game. It wasn't even their A game. That was like a B game for them, and they still blew the Browns out. But yeah, so there's a lot of concern on both sides of the line for the Vikings against the run, and then protecting the quarterback and opening up some holes running. It's just I don't know what they do. The O'Neal thing is
how many times have our quarterbacks been sacked this year?
Well,
we have to be one of the worst in football.
Yeah. It was 6 yesterday. And it could have been more. Wentz was able to evade it a couple of times. But yeah, it's just, it's, and I listened to you. You picked the Vikings to get to the big game. And, Rosen was, all the Vikings, and Lieber thought they were going to be great. And PA.
I did tell you before the year I was concerned about injuries popping up because they were due to get injured.
Yeah, you did say that. And that's exactly what's happening now. But, we'll see. They get to stay across the pond, hang out. You know what that's all about, right, Ted? The reason this is the first time. Am I correct? It's the first time a team has played consecutive games across the pond, back-to-back weeks. And you know what this is for? This is an experiment. The NFL is bound and determined. I'm convinced they're bound and determined to expand to Europe. And this is to see what would a team based in the United States, what happens when they go over for 2 games? Because it doesn't make any sense.
We are worse than the league in sacks allowed right now. Wow. Giving up 18.
18 sacks.
Did you see what the NFL record is? Are we on pace?
You know me, historically good or biblically bad. If the season... It's not trending in the right direction. I know they're 500. We talked about that at the beginning of a win over Cleveland can make things seem a lot better. It's like you get to 10, 11 wins and you can get yourself a playoff spot. But in lieu of a playoff spot, I'm always looking for historically, biblically bad if we got to go that way. But, what was I talking about before then? It doesn't really matter. It's disappointing. It's the thing I'm waiting to hear about it. The O'Neal thing is
we're on pace for Fourth most all time.
Fourth most all time. We need to get a little bit more leaky than if we're going to get to that biblically bad. How many?
How about the record?
Yeah, what is the record?
104 by the Eagles in 1986. 19 clear of second place. Wow. Second place was actually the 2023 Giants. They gave up 85.
So 104 sacks. That would have been over 16 games, right?
That was over 16 games, yes. That's crazy.
Are you, what? Or how are you at math? What is that average per game then?
104.
16 games?
I would have to redo the math on that.
Yeah.
104 divided by 16. 6.5 a game.
6.5 sacks a game. Well, we had on pace yesterday. We had 6 yesterday.
But we're on pace for fourth all time.
The O'Neal injury looms large. He has turned into a really quality right tackle. I mean, we were convinced, we were bookended. Here's where again, I know people get tired of me talking about the kiddies, but their offensive line was supposed to be an issue, right? They had Ragnow, the Minnesota kid, retire at center, just out of nowhere. No one saw that one coming. He just decided, I've had enough. They got Sewell. They had to move Decker over to the left tackle spot. That's not his natural position. Then they have their Glasgow. He's their center. They have 2 rookies in the guard positions, tend to be, and so far those 2 rookies have been rock solid. And that's getting back to one of the text messages that somebody sent, and I do agree with this. We've brought this up on a number of occasions, and we're not the first to talk about it. The GM for the Eagles, Howie Roseman, all he does every year is draft offensive linemen every year. Doesn't matter if you have offensive linemen, you just keep drafting. You can't have enough offensive linemen. We have drafted offensive linemen. It's not like the Vikings haven't tried, but they haven't had a lot of luck at that position. And it looked like the Jonah Jackson guy, he seems like he's promising, but we don't know. He's got to come back from an injury. I guess what you have to hope is, I don't know what to think about the center now. With a 5th concussion documented that we know of in 2 and 3 weeks.
We can't count on him.
I just can't count on him. And then I think Darius will be all right. I mean, I know he had a false start or he had a hold or something like that, but he's still good. If O'Neal can come back, he's not gone for too long. He's still got your tackles. And then if Jonah Jackson comes back, maybe, okay, then maybe we can hide some stuff. Look, there are successful teams in the NFL that win games and make postseason that don't have 5 studs across the offensive line. It helps. But if you've got 2 really good tackles, decent center, a couple of okay guards, you can still win football games in the NFL. But it's we're just not very deep right now.
Who's Jonah Jackson? Is he on our team?
The guy keeps saying, no, drive the wrong guy. Who's the guy that...
Oh, the left guard, the rookie left guard.
Yeah,
Donovan Jackson.
Donovan Jackson. I'm sorry. I keep calling him
second
Jonah.
there,
I'm sorry. Donovan Jackson.
Yeah.
Weren't we kind of like happy with how he's played so far?
Sure.
We think that he's got a chance to be a really good player. And isn't he the one that he had he hurt his hand or his wrist or his
battled it
finger,
out against Cincinnati,
and he just kept battling. And they said, well, get surgery now and get it taken care of. But he's supposed to be back shortly, I think. So that'll be a boost.
But he's going to miss against Cleveland, I believe.
Yeah. But then I think he might be back after that, so that's a boost. But I don't know. It certainly wasn't what we'd hoped for. And so there you go. But the Green Bay tie last night. Did you watch any of that game?
I watched a lot of it.
Yeah, I did too. And that was just defense was a rumor in that game.
Yes.
And Dallas is just, I could never be a fan of that club. They get in the way of themselves over and over and over. They've got a chance to get a tutty in overtime, and they're first and goal from the 5 or the 6, and they just totally botch that. And then they let Green Bay just drive down.
Their defense is the worst in football.
Yeah, it's just an awful defense. And then that tie can be good or bad for the team that has, like for Green Bay. They could win the division by a half game, or they could lose the division by a half game. That tie can be
a tie against Dallas is not a good tie.
No, that's not good though. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's just terrible.
They're going to look back at that one and regret that one.
Someone did say that the Vikings are not the first team to play back-to-back games. Jacksonville did it in 2023, both games in London. This is the first time in two different countries. Maybe that's part of the experiment, too. I think they're experimenting on what that would look like.
Roger Goodell joined the pregame yesterday.
Okay.
He was interviewed by PA on our pregame and basically said that same thing. They're doing all these things, almost just experimenting with it.
Yes, exactly.
To see what can work, what can't work.
Yeah, and to me, that if you do go that direction, it only makes sense for a team to go and play 2 games over there as a extra long road trip, right? I just don't know if sending a team back there. Maybe that's the best way to do it. But then if you do think it's a competitive disadvantage, then do those European teams have an advantage? Of course, they have to travel over here, so maybe it all evens out. I don't know. We'll pause. We'll come back. When we do, a 10 to beat will have 5-3-4 for us.
As the kids would say, the Lynx were D1 crash outs.